say we don't know how the condition will be because of the age. So meaning we have also to focus on other diseases which can affect the immune system itself, like cholera. You have that situation, we are approaching the rain season now. So cholera itself, we have to know how we are going to deal with it. The likes of malaria also. We know how we have to see what kind of issues we are supposed to put in place or resources in order to combat this kind of diseases. Because believe you me, if somebody has connected cholera today and also coronavirus on the other hand, it will be very much difficult for the citizens or for the people of Zambia to be surviving, including myself. So what we are supposed to do now, as starting from this point, is to understand or to practice hygiene everywhere, and that is why the government has to play a role in this. We have been seeing countries like Rwanda, countries like Kenya, countries like Tanzania, where the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, was distributing things like mid-meal because they knew that the citizens were it's not easy for them to attract these funds or for them to survive. Let us not go very far. Even in Singapore, you are going to believe that if you are working, and then the companies, they also understand that they are not generating enough profit. As a result, the government went in and started paying about 80% of salaries of those workers, which meant them at least not to lose their jobs. But when you talk about Zambia, it has been business as usual. The coronavirus funds were coming in. At some point, when a journalist asked the Minister of Health, Mr. Taruchirufia, and then said, how much have you made so far in donation? He said, who has sent you? And which is very much difficult. You have to trust these people in the way they handle in our resources. But when a leader is responding in that way, meaning is not ready on where to spend the money and what is supposed to be done to the money, because I believe if I've got nothing to do with that those funds, I have to give a specific figure which is available. If I don't have a specific figure, I have to say no, this person will advise later on, not necessarily trying to intimidate, saying who has sent you. And that is why the country is in this situation. Whether I talk here or I don't, you're going to believe that the government will not take the advice for so long as it's coming from an opposition point of view. It will also be treated as an opposition. But they fail to realize that when you are talking about these issues, we are talking about issues which can benefit the people of Zambia. We are talking about issues which can make sure that we try to deal with other situations which are being affected by the people of Zambia. So the way forward here now is, I expect the government now at least to be distributing things like, hand sanitizers in school, to be distributing things like face masks. I think we have received enough face masks from our donors. We have also received a lot of money from even our business entities within the country, the likes of trade kings, likes of political parties. They have all done that. So the only thing that we have now to look at is the government knowing where to channel the resources. And I think when the budget comes out, let them focus much on industries and also health in the Ministry of Health. I think that is where we have a lot of challenges also, because the Ministry of Health also is being introduced into the Ministry of Education. They are supposed to ensure that there is hygiene and there is what is needed there. Yeah.
All right. Let's come to the next story. Much as we blame the system for losses, we also need buttoning up, says UPND Member of Parliament for Mazabuka Central, Gary Nkombo. He continues saying, UPND has got a lot of buttoning up to do, as evidenced by the loss of the just ended parliamentary by-elections in Lukasha and Mwansawombo constituencies. And Gary says President Edgar Lungu will be remembered for the degeneration of law and order in Zambia. Speaking when he featured on Radio Phoenix's Let the People Talk program Friday, Nkombo said, while some blame for the loss could be ascribed to the failures in the system, the UPND needed to do some buttoning up. Who am I going to begin with? Let me begin with Munzia. UPND need buttoning up, says Gary Nkombo. Your comment?
I hope when we talk about UPND needing buttoning up, we're talking about them needing to do a lot more work than what they're currently doing. And just last week we were talking about how they allow other political parties to ascertain or to determine what agendas to push, and I hope this means that they do agree that they haven't done enough work on the ground, and that they're actually going to have to sit and tell the people, this is what we are going to bring to the table, this is what we are going to bring into your homes should we win the 2021 by-elections. Yes, of course, we know that there was a lot of mishaps during the just past elections, and if those are the systems he's blaming, everybody could blame those systems. But what have you done to prepare yourself as a party, in regardless of what regardless of the challenges that you're going to face, what have you done to prepare as a party? If someone is going to poke you and that is what you decide to respond, rather than to tell me what it is you're going to help me with, then obviously you can blame the systems, but don't entirely blame the systems. And I'm just glad that he has accepted that they do have a lot of work to do.
The UPND being the largest opposition, do you think they've punched with the weight that they ought to punch in terms of different credible checks and balances?
No, Andrew, no. And from last week we talked about this. No, they haven't. And not just the UPND. Most of the Zambian opposition political parties have not done that. They're too reactive, like Mavuto said. That is what our opposition political parties right now are good at. They want to react to what PF is bringing to the table, rather than bring their own agenda to say, this is what I want to come and discuss with you. I want you as the Zambian people to be aware that this is what my party is going to bring to the table, rather than really, always defend yourself. Yeah,
the biggest cry really that I think we've been hearing from opposition political parties is that we are in a democratic space that is shrinking. When you say anything against the government of the day, or when you bring out any agenda, you risk being arrested. Don't you think the harshness in the political environment also has caused the fire to quench, in the side of the opposition?
But how do we expect to see change if already they want to
be scared?
To be scared, and I was going to use the term coward, but how do you expect to see change? Show me a person that has stood up to fight for the greater good of any country on this earth that did not risk the same that they would be risking right now. I think if this is the position you want to put yourself into, to say, I want to be the mouth, the voice that is going to speak out for each and every other Zambian that does not have the platform or does not have the courage, but still feels what I'm feeling, then you should know that the job will come with a risk.
Yeah.
You should understand that the job will come with a risk. I am just glad that they have admitted to the fact that they do have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Yes,
the opposition, Mavuto, have punched below their weight. What is your reaction?
Well, first of all, I think Honorable Nkombo seems to be a very unique character in terms of the leadership of this country. Just Friday, I think I was sitting in the morning show. I was not popular. I was not popular because I told them that you cannot continue complaining that our colleagues are buying the voters and we are not doing it. And people thought, was I crazy? And this seems to come in line with what I said. Firstly, what is the agenda of the UPND? Economically, socially, and politically. I think that is what is key. I always tell people that I miss the UPND of the previous years. Today, as we are talking about the budget, the UPND would have already had an alternative budget to what is happening in the country. I was sitting with some PF official over the weekend who just told me, okay, after we don't have the opposition, all the mistakes, the troubles we've caused for this country, and we can still walk with our head high. What does it tell you? That the opposition have literally not been there. And the PF seems to have strategists. People are thinking for them. Look, already they've opened so many fronts for the UPND to fight. We're already talking about Bill 10. We're talking about voter registration. We're talking about NRSCs. And the UPND will only be reacting to all these issues. What's their agenda? And you cannot begin to redefine your agenda in the election year. Because if we were to seriously count the time between now and the election, we're almost less than a year before the elections. So at what stage do you begin to refine your political strategy? Economically? The kwacha we're talking about today is at how much? It's $1 to 20 kwacha. And then the opposition are sitting and not providing us alternative. It's like the example I gave the other week to say, what will you choose? To continue in an abusive relationship, or a relationship where you've seen, oh, there's a guy there who's driving a Benz and is promising to buy me another Benz. You're not too sure. The new guy should be able to convince you that you will not be abusive, you will always be available for you to walk out of where you already are. And that's a situation where we are. People will tell us, yes, the PF might be toxic, the PF might be abusive. But there are people in this country that saying, would rather continue with an abusive relationship than getting into a new one. We saw it in Mwansabombwe. We saw it in Lukasha. If you look at Mwansabombwe, we're told 27,000 voters that are available on the voter register. How many people went to vote? 9,000. When you subtract that, how much does it give you? It gives you about 18,000. You see? So, even in that election, people were able to easily identify themselves with who?
The PF.
The PF rather than the UPND. What does it tell you? That they need to double their efforts as we go to the general elections. But what is their message? Will they just continue saying, no, our president was not part of privatization? No, this voter registration is here. No, no, no. You need to provide the alternative. People need to begin to see the hope. Once you provide the hope, you remember, I think 2011, prior to 2011, if fuel prices today, everybody in UPND will tell you, we don't want our president to go the Michael Satawe of politics. But that was surprising people. Sometimes you would even go to ZRA and greet them, just to greet them. You need to create a human face with your citizens, especially the potential voters. When do we see these opposition leaders most of the times? When they are by-elections. They don't pick up, and people tell us, no, but there's no space, the space is shrinking. It's about how creative you can be. How many new voters are you looking at in terms of the numbers? And those are millennials. The young people are on the phones. Yep. And how are you utilizing the phone to get to them and share the message? And you know the word is easy. If the message is good, the young people share. If the song is good, the young people do what? We share. They would rather sing to, they would rather dance to Tununa Reverse, because there is no alternative that has been provided to what? To Tununa Reverse. And they'll go to the band, begin to dance without them realizing that they're actually dancing to such kind of a song. So I think what is critical is that Gary knows what the problem is in UPND. But have they provided a remedy? I'll tell you also honestly, those I've spoken to, even on Saturday I was calling some of them, I said, you are lying to us that you are popular. Where's your popularity if you can't win those two elections? These are by-elections. And you begin to visualize the outcome of elections through a what? A by-election like the one which was Mwansabombwe and Lukasha. Lukasha, they told us, oh, they are a popular candidate. Within a blink of an eye, the guy leaves PF, joins UPND, and is their candidate. And then I begin to ask myself, is UPND truly a serious party? Where were their structures? They couldn't pick a person at provincial level. They couldn't pick a person at district level. They couldn't pick a person at constituency level. They couldn't pick a person at ward level. Then I'm beginning to think I'm left in the court to say, oh, okay, if there are these and for me, the beginning of their problems, ahead of 2021, I saw them in Lukasha, celebrating a PF reject. And you walk into my house, Muzia is my baby. Then she walks into my house. Then Mr. Erastul walks in. She's never given me a hug. Then she rushes to go and hug Erastul. What does it imply? She's in love with Elias. So, what am I trying to imply?
Are you speaking prophetically? Or?
I might speak prophetically, but that's why my prophecy. My prophecy is like this. I saw it happening, and I told myself, there are problems for UPND. Why are there problems? That they can celebrate a PF reject. How many people were on the PF list? There were more than 8. But one of those 8 who was rejected was number 1 for who?
For the UPND. For
the UPND. So I think now I'm beginning to realize they need to move their politics from social media. They need to go out there and begin to identify with the challenges of the Zambians. What are challenges of the Zambians? Who is speaking about corruption in this country on their behalf? Is UPND doing that? But what's the alternative that they are providing? Schools have opened. What is their stance on the opening of schools? They're quiet. So you need to begin to identify. You see, what happened at Lukasha and Mwansabombwe, do you know that it's not different from what happened in Lusaka? 3/4 of the areas in Lusaka are compound.
But obviously,
with the same poverty levels with some of these areas.
Yeah, but with a realistic lens, Mavuto, did you expect the UPND to win in Lukasha and Mwansabombo?
For how long have the UPND been in politics? They are not schoolboys like the DP who are just coming now and emerging. UPND is the most experienced political party in this country. After 10 years, they should have a district. Yes, people are talking about the cheap politics of stronghold. No, but in 1991, UNIP was a popular.
Let me ask also another realistic question.
The entire country.
If there was a by-election in Monze, do you think the PF could win the election?
If they've got structures, they win. Yes.
Mavuto, let's be realistic.
Yes, they will do it.
Let me bring in.
If you go to a constituency and regardless of whose stronghold it is.
No, but you're asking me. No, Muzia, he asked me, didn't the PF win in Mangango? Whose constituency was it? Did the PF win in Mangango?
But didn't the opposition also allow win in the Copper Belt in Ron?
Yes, they won. So there's a possibility. The opposition won in Ron. Is that not a possibility? Possibilities are there, but it depends on how ready you are to win. Once you cannot have whether my brother from DP is upset with me, but they are just a baby party. They are emerging, and you can't compare them to UPND. UPND has been on the ground for years, for a number of years. Tell me, when was PF formed? It was formed way after UPND. But what happened? When we went to the 2000 elections, how many MPs did the UPND have? And how many MPs did PF have? PF had I think
UPND had more MPs than the PF.
So, by 2001, which was the largest second political party?
The UPND.
Which is the second largest political party? What was the PF in 2001? It was a party like these guys, a DP that was just starting. I remember, I think they won the first seat in Lupososhi. They had one seat. The UPND was still boasting about numbers. And you still talk about those figures in Lukasha and Mwansabombo. It's about how you design your messages. It's about how you engage the people. It's about, are people able to identify with you? On this one, I will not miss my. And I'm happy that it's coming from within their structure. I told you, Gary is not just an ordinary member of the party. He's in charge of what? Elections. But what is he telling you? We need to do what?
Button up.
To button up and improve. But also, Gary's voice could be a voice in wilderness. Maybe people are not listening to him. He's given the analysis, but people are just saying, no, we are popular. You can't give us this analysis. If a headline comes out like that, tell me there are things worse and bigger than what Gary has said and anticipated. And for me, if you were to ask, the future doesn't look bright.
For the UPND?
Yes. What about if those things are not done? And what's the agreed time frame in terms of improving the process?
Let me get to bring in the voice of the opposition, the DP. I think you've heard from these analysts that the opposition, not only the UPND, have punched below their weight. Does this sit well with the DP as well? Do you think you've punched below your weight? But also, you guys have not even tested the waters. You've been shying away from by-elections, claiming that, look, it's a wastage of money. Does this get your reaction?
Do you even have money?
Okay, I think I'll respond also to certain things there. I think what you have to understand is that people, or if you are a person and then you are crying for help, you only cry for it when you know that there is help to cry for. You know, the UPND have been treating each and every organization as their enemy. They treat the ECZ as their enemy. They will treat the police as their enemy. They will treat everybody as their enemy. But today, let me just bring certain facts here. 2 days ago, here is the president, Mr. Kalaba. People's president, Mr. Hadi Kalaba, maturely and in civil way engages ECZ and expresses his displeasure on some of the ECZ pronouncements. After the dialogue, ECZ CEO Shindano ensures President Kalaba that his concerns will be taken into consideration and thanks Kalaba for engaging ECZ in such a manner and reassures ECZ's open door policy, HK, which is Hadi Kalaba, and DP hope for the best. Meaning, when you are a leader, you are not only a leader for a certain group. You are a leader also for those organizations. Meaning, the president of the UPND, who is Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, if he's seen displeasure on how this kind of institutions are operating, he would have been visiting them like Mr. Hari Kalaba. As I'm speaking also today, you are also going to discover that the UPND, of course, I've got to know that interest, you know, to be involving myself in that area. But I didn't join the UPND. This one being, not been told what they'll do the first year when they get into power, the second year when they're in power. So when you have got such kind of things, it means there'll be just more like a build-up of what is happening. That is the reality. You know, you have to be knowing to say, when you get into power, the first thing you're going to do is this. When you get into power, the second thing you're going to do is this. Therefore, you are also going to believe that, as in the Democratic Party, you have told the people, the first thing that you want to focus on is industrialization, because you have got the issue of unemployment. When you industrialize the country based on the favorable conditions of the province, you are also going to have what? Accumulation of...
Do you think you've been effective as an opposition political party?
Very much. Very much. You have been very much effective. And believe you me, when we tell the people to say, we are going to carry the day. You see, certain other organizations... No, let me just be realistic here. Say other organizations or certain organizations cannot grow up to a certain level. I'm not speaking it from without. Look, when you talk about where the UPND is coming from, it is coming from a point of where it has always been, you know, the best political party, it has been crying day in, day out. In 2015, they cried for rigging. 2016, they cried for rigging. Yes. Until now, these elections that we are going to have, in Mwansabombwe and in Lukasha, they are also crying for what? For rigging. For how long is that trend going to get in? And believe you me, if you are always presenting problems to the people that are with you, they are going to be frustrated. As a result, they will move out of your side. So when you talk about these issues, you are not only talking about...
But don't you think at least, you know, in both constituencies, they've come out second. At least they've tried, as opposed to you people that keep shying away. You claim to be a formidable political party that has got teeth and will take the day in 2020. You shy away.
The main reason as to why I'm telling you this is this. Look, how much money has the ECZ spent on those by-elections? How much is it? And we are only meaning about 8 months or 7 months for us to have general elections. So we are standing on a point of view where we have to get rid of by-elections. And then there is another person who is going to ask me a question saying, what about the case of Mwansabombwe where we had an independent MP? What is going to happen? We suggested that the political party which won the general election in that particular constituency is supposed to pick a person who is going to carry the day, or who is going to do what? Who is going to represent the person who has died. Since the person who died in Mwansabombwe was in PF, what are they supposed to do? The PF government was supposed to choose to say, our next MP in this constituency to be this person. Now, in an event where we have got an independent MP, that's when we can have now issues of by-elections, because that person was only standing on his own. So those issues, when you see us saying, why are you not participating? And my brother here has just said, the political party doesn't even have money anyway. As I'm speaking to you, our president is in Eastern Province today. As I'm speaking to you, just previous week, our president was in the Western Province. Tell me, amongst the presidents that we have in this Zambia, among the leaders who are leading their political parties, are moving like the way the president has got more money. Not only that. No, it's not about just the point.
Especially these that the ones
just the point.
Empty shells. You know why? They can't even point at who their Secretary General is. Who they are. These are problems created for this country.
Let me
imagine if at political party level you can't even have a normal functioning establishment. The only thing you have I'm not a party president, but I'm a presidential
candidate.
Now, allow me to say this. I think my brother here has just come up with saying the person with more money in amongst the opposition leaders. It's not about how much money you obtain, but it is what you do to the money that you have. So, meaning, for you to run the affairs of the political parties, you need money.
Who's your SG, Mr.?
That is Madam Precious Intambu. Our deputy SG, you are going to have Mr. Kumalinga. You have we have. Okay. And then we have also our
vice president.
Our vice president is not yet been adopted. Now, who is the president?
UPND doesn't even have a vice president. Am I lying?
Now, let me bring that.
They don't have.
They have.
Your party doesn't have. What are they telling us? The PF was.
Because they are in power.
So these guys have to wait to get to power.
No,
Give structure to people.
no. Sir, let me clear that
guys.
notion there. We don't only come up with a president because we have to come up with a president. No, it calls
Some of the
for
political
you.
parties are
Let
not,
me tell you.
they don't have competition.
It's-
Neither kuti nabu kama I'm president.
Now listen,
I
just
don't
listen
give
a
you the
bit.
space.
Just listen a bit. When you talk about political parties, it's not about us having a vice president. It's about the people choosing the vice president. We are not only talking
the
about
president
that.
chose
Meaning,
himself.
no.
You're going to go for a
president-
convention instead?
Yes, we have to go for a convention. And
But you
there,
already have a candidate.
no, a vice president is going to be picked.
But you already have a candidate for 2021.
Listen, you are not giving me chance to explain here. That is the problem that we have.
Yeah.
So if you are going to bring in arguments, I'll not explain effectively. So what I'm trying to say is, you are not going to say this is our vice president. Nevertheless, if we say this is our vice president, is our issues in this country going to end? Are we going to have fire tenders being taken back and then regaining our money? Are we going to have people in Zambia not having food, having food? That is why in Zambia we have been concentrating much on issues that cannot benefit us. Instead, we focus on issues which we think cannot even take us anywhere. Just recently, we saw what happened to Mr. Tayari. The wife went there. It was the issue which popped up on social media. Yet today, we have people who are not working. Today, we have got people who are surviving just on selling of face masks. So it's not just a matter of us saying our vice president is this. No. That's not how we deal with these issues. Moreover, when you talk about this is our vice president, this is what? The president himself has proper advisors. They are going to advise him well. So I cannot question their intelligence to say, why haven't you chosen the vice president? Why haven't you done that? That is not my part. But my other part which I need to do is I have to play the role that I was put on.
So you can't question the president.
I can question him, but I shouldn't demean the intelligence of his advisors.
All right, let's just jump on to our next story, gentlemen. Lungu must go. No animals should be more equal than others, says Teles from Mpundu. So Mpundu says it is lawlessness of the highest order to restore an expired bill in Parliament. And Archbishop Mpundu says President Edgar Lungu should listen to the voice of Zambians who are telling him, thank you very much for your luckless time in State House, but now time has come for you to go, says Mpundu. In an interview with Diggers, Archbishop Mpundu lamented that the PF was so desperate to pass Constitutional Amendment Bill number 10 of 2019 that they were changing the rules. Let me begin with you again, Mr. Lazarus. I did see a posting on your Facebook page that Lungu is eligible to contest in 2021, but as MP, not as president. Just bring us up to speed with that.
Okay, of course I had said that. I said, there was that argument which was going on to say president is eligible, is not eligible. I mean, President Lungu is eligible to contest in 2021, but not as president. But he can contest as MP, councillor, or any other position. So when we talk about contesting, let us be specific. Is it at presidential level? Is it at council level? Okay, no, not really. So that is the point which I was trying to raise there. Okay. So, I was just trying to create or to bring up the notion which was saying President Lungu is not eligible, is eligible. The President Lungu is eligible because there is no any article in the Constitution of Zambia which says after running for office twice, you are not qualified to contest as MP or councillor. Then, if he is going to be disqualified, as the issue stands when he files in nominations, he can still say, I'm going to contest as MP or as councillor. That is still within his constitutional right. So for us to tell him to say, no, you are not eligible to contest, you are infringing on his rights, in short. So that is the point.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let me come to you, Mavuto. President Lungu is, like he said, is eligible to contest, but not as president.
Contest where? Here?
In Zambia. But no.
Also told us on Friday through their president that the only issue that was resolved is the term of office, and his eligibility issues have not been sorted out. I think you read it must have been Digger's edition of Friday, where they interviewed. Okay, President Lungu is a very intelligent presidential candidate among them all. Because you see, that's what I've told you, the opposition also needs to be strategic. Have they dealt with these issues up to the end? What about if the court tomorrow says he's eligible? Where will we go? Will we refuse? The PF have told us this is their sole candidate. And they are a party in government. So they know what they are talking about.
Yeah.
And whether we like it or not, we'll see President Lungu on the ballot in 2011, in 2021. And this is why I've told you that I'm worried with the preoccupation of the opposition. They are not preoccupied with the issues. The PF are in power. They can do, they will choose whoever they want to be their candidate. But I can assure you, whether you like it or not, the president will be on the ballot. And the opposition are not focusing on the issues.
Now, allow me just to bring in these issues.
Yes.
You are not scared of Mr. Lungu. If they want, let them go and bring Obama to contest on PF. You are going to go ahead.
No, they've just given you Mr. Lungu already.
Let them contest.
You see, because if they bring Obama also, you'll be saying he's not the Zambian. You will have issues.
If this law will not be followed as is stated, let them bring any candidate of their choice.
But whether you like it or not, President Lungu will be on the ballot.
Whether we like it or not. In the constitution of Zambia.
Which constitution?
The constitution of Zambia, which was amended in 2016. When you look
so if it, I want to ask this question. Okay, if we said, okay, the PF tells you President Lungu will not be there, what are your issues as the opposition? Because it seems like every day when you wake up, you are just obsessed with President Lungu. And about whether it's going to stand or not. It's immaterial to the PF. They know who their candidate will be.
I mean, so you are saying we have nothing to do with the PF leadership? I mean, this mess we are in, it's a result of the PF. So
partly your president is to blame. He told us President Lungu was the best candidate.
Now, let me tell you something.
Let me apologize.
Not only that. Let me explain this. When you have got such kind of issues coming up, you have to understand this point. We had two candidates, Mr. Mausampa and Mr. Lungu. Long then, you are going to discover that Mr. Lungu we knew and Mr. Lungu we know now. They are two different people. So now, is a person who was so humble, he was representing the people like he can represent them. Is a person who was needing at anything. Even in front of a TV, can you just congratulate the person who is talking there. But the point I'm trying to raise here is this. The point I'm trying to raise is this. When you have got such kind of issues, you have to be understanding which party that person is playing on. Today you can make a decision, but that doesn't mean the decision you have made will result into good things. I mean, you have made mistakes in your life, and you can't say, since I've made those mistakes, I'm not a human. A human being is born to make mistakes, but nevertheless, when you make mistakes, you have to accept them and take responsibility, and that is the point. And that is the point we are on. If our president in the part, President Hari Kalaba, never wanted just money, he would have still continued as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He was not fired. He just resigned on his own. Meaning, when you talk about this, he knew that the people of Zambia are going to be facing what? Issues like this. Is the person who said there is too much corruption in the PF government.
But he never told you who is corrupt.
They said, let me tell you this. They said,
has he ever told us that it's
I'm coming to that. Apart from that, we are saying, no, how come you are the only one who is seeing corruption? How come you are this? Meaning you are the one who is corrupt. No, what we are seeing now, it's as a result of what he told us. We are telling
from the time he left. From the time he left government, I have not seen any ex-official or a current official convicted on corruption. And have you seen any
people like
Mr. Simukoko explain?
We have seen that. Haven't you seen Mr. Titaruchifia being taken to court?
And what was the outcome?
And then, acquitted. And then, these institutions, as we are saying, they are not operating independently. There is that interference from the government. That is what I can tell you there. So, these are the issues you have to be understanding.
Now, let me bring in Munzi in the conversation. Lungu must go. No animal should be more equal than others. Well, it doesn't need to contest in 2021 because, his time is done. If he's going to contest, it will be for the third time and it's against the constitution, says Teles from Pundu. Your reaction to this?
I think it doesn't, well, I feel like it doesn't matter whether Lungu does actually go or not. I think what matters is what people will be voting for come 2021. Whether it's going to be Lungu on the PF ticket or it's going to be a different person altogether. At the end of the day, like Mavuto said, we are going to have, well, Mavuto is very sure we're going to have the president on the PF ticket.
He's here to stay.
On the PF ticket. But for me, it doesn't matter who's going to be per PF ticket. For as long as PF will be there, the PF party itself will be there. There's going to be other political parties. Tell us what it is that we are going to be voting for. Tell us what it is we're going to be voting for. Even if Mr. Lungu, President Lungu himself is going to be per PF ticket, the other presidents should tell us what we are going to be voting for.
Yeah, but in terms of, I'm sure the Archbishop here was looking at in terms of respecting the constitutional provisions in our constitution. That look, if you're going to contest again, it will be for the third time. It's not looking at it in terms of
the course,
PF
that's
being
why he has said no
party.
animal should be equal than the other. But right now, this is our situation, you guys. This is the situation we're in, where he is going to be on the PF ticket. So the other
What about if
political
he's
parties,
there?
the other political parties should tell us,
What about if he's there?
what we are going to be voting for. And for me, I would want to hear the President Kalaba. I would love to hear President Echech. I would love to hear President Kambwili come here and swear that they are going to uphold the law. They are going to live by the Constitution if they are to be given a chance.
But
so that everyone that is not.
President Lungu so.
But we are seeing him we are seeing him go the opposite way. We are seeing him take a different route from what he initially promised. So somebody should
what
come
did he
and
promise, Kansh?
to uphold the laws.
Have you read the Constitution?
Yes, I have. I
His
could
first
say I
term was
have
how many years?
His
I'm
first
asking.
term was
His-
1 year.
Yes.
In 2015 to 2016. In 2016.
And the Constitution says a term is defined as what?
It's defined as 5 years. But also the interpretation of the...
Terry Nayo. A term means that same Constitution, a term means what?
But you see, if this is what we are going to talk
But
about,
also,
who is
okay,
eligible
but also-
to-
A term
Just
is
a minute.
defined
If
as
you're
what?
going to argue with-
Just a
if
minute,
you're going to
just a
argue
minute.
with, you remember what KBF had, I had him on the assignment. He says the term of office of their constitution for
PF.
for the PF is in line with the one, the national
president.
constitution. If the national constitution says you can only run twice, they'll follow that. So he doesn't qualify both at presidential level in terms of the party and also
even
at
as
national.
national
That is according to the
And
argument.
but I've asked
No,
you,
now, just
the
a minute,
Constitution
just a
says
minute,
a
just
term
a minute.
is
I think let me
what
ask you
constitutes
this
a term in our Constitution.
Let me
How many
ask you-
times do you have to be sworn for you to be?
No. What constitutes?
You can only be
Well,
sworn in twice.
You can only be 20.
But
twice.
again,
You
the
can only
Constitution
be
says
sworn
what?
in twice.
No, so I think let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. You are saying that a term would define. Then, if you are saying you have to be, that is called the office of the president. Now, if you are saying that President Lungu never had to hold office in 2015-2016, then who was the president in 2015 to 2016? Who was the president?
No, he didn't say he didn't.
No,
hold
I just
office.
want him to answer this question. Who
Did
was
you
the
say
president
he didn't
between-
hold
Who was our
office?
president?
Who was our president in 2015
Who was
and
Zambia's
2016?
president in 2015?
For how long?
No, just
For the
no, no,
1
no.
year.
For how long?
the
For how
1
long?
year.
No,
For the 1
He
year.
was a caretaker president.
Who was the president?
He was a caretaker.
But who was the president?
He was
That's
a
the name.
caretaker.
You want the name, not a caretaker. You want a name.
He was a caretaker.
You want a name of a
Exam
president.
question
Eh.
Afunsa. Who was the
Who was
president
the
of
president
Zambia?
between-
But exam question for Tibo Gamba to explain.
No, just answer the question. So you know.
Andrew, we'll get there one day. We'll get there one day. We'll get there one day. But I can rest assure you, the lawyers will get their own interpretation ahead of 2021. And what about if President Lungu is on the ballot?
No, what?
Which is
what
more
the
likely to
Constitution-
happen?
what
I
the
can bet
Constitution
with you
say,
here.
Lawyers as of now, they have got no.
And he's a lawyer. And he's a lawyer. And he's not just a simple lawyer. A lawyer who was winning cases.
Who?
President Lungu.
Okay.
Yes. He was a lawyer. He was a lawyer who was winning cases. So he understands the interpretation of the law. And we say, like I asked you a question, and also you've chosen to ignore it. What constitutes a term in Zambia?
Well, of course, according to the constitution, it's 5 years.
Yeah, so I leave it there.
Gentlemen, let's get to the last story before we get to bring in Bessie. Bill 10, a ventilator for the Patriotic Front, says Jack Mwimbu. Now, leader of the opposition in Parliament, Jack Mwimbu, says Bill 10 is a ventilator for the PF and the opposition UPND will not be part of it. Mwimbu told the PF they will pass Bill 10 alone if they had the numbers. Vice President Winner presented the motion to restore the order paper to the order bills that elapsed in the last session. She said, according to the parliamentary procedure and practice, all business that was not concluded before the end of the session lapses and could not be continued in the issuing session unless the House directs so. Now let's begin with this issue. It's been a controversial issue, I think, for the past, is it now 8 months or so? Bill 10. Many argue that the lifeline of the PF is tied to Constitutional Amendment Bill number 10 of 2019.
The opposition told us one thing.
Yeah.
They told us the bill was not going to see the light of the day in Parliament. The reality is the bill is where?
I think the bill has got 9 lives now because I think it's been killed.
It's even more than a cat.
Yeah.
It has survived. And that's where you see, when I tell you Zambian political parties are empty shells. Apart from Bill 10, what was the alternative that was created? These are moral questions I'm asking. And when I begin to ask these questions, I'll be called the Kada. Friday, the bill was reintroduced to Parliament.
Yeah.
Actually, Thursday. And on Friday, it was where? Admitted on the other paper. That simply means it's a what? It's a reality. And we need to deal with it. But will the opposition continue moving out without telling us what is the alternative to Bill 10? This is where I have the challenges with Zambian political parties. They will argue that this thing will not work out. The fact that Bill 10 is back in Parliament, I will not be shocked that President Lungu will be a PF candidate in 2021 come in August. And this is the political party who just sit on the ante and shout their loudest without offering an alternative. Let me be challenged. I'll be here. And I hope God will keep me alive and well to see what I'm projecting as prospects for this country. Because Bill 10 is back in Parliament. What are the opposition say? No, it's what? Timed it. There are some of these, for instance, UPND members of Parliament, that sat in the select committee. Did they protest? They told you it was their constitutional mandate to be part of these committees because they are provided for by the law, not so?
It is.
Yes. Did they go back to their, what? Others have even told you, I was part of the select committee. Hasn't Professor Lunganga told you so? Hasn't Honorable Kasonzo told you so? But where are the opposition in terms? Tinambera gonna protest at Osa Chifakapo Chibiwa. It was quiet, business as usual, and we're moving on.
Yeah.
It's a ventilator. But what is the duty of a ventilator? It's to give you life.
To give you life.
The PF might be given a life very soon.
The lifeline of the PF is tied to Bill 10. Do you agree, Mr. Simukoko, before I come to Munzia?
Well, for them to support it means they think their life, that's where it belongs to. I think we also have to understand where this thing was tracked on. First and foremost, you have to understand that when we are running these things, PF will not be in government forever. As of 2021, they will exit the power and they are going to take over. So what I'm trying to say here is this. If we in the Democratic Party are not agreeing with Bill 10, what happens if the MPs in Parliament or the PF have numbers to pass it? It means if you are against it, our main aim will be to remove things which we are not in support of. That simply means things we will not be looking at the affairs of the people of Zambia. But what I'm trying to say as of now is the government is supposed to be understanding what is supposed to be coming first. They are debating about Bill 10 in Parliament, but yet we have got issues which mean well for the people of Zambia. They are just claiming to say, no, Bill 10 will bring in youths, will bring in women, disabled, and other kind of characters. But the question we have to ask ourselves is, in the Constitution, there's a provision where a president can appoint 8 people. It doesn't matter where they come from. He can even appoint me or any person in Zambia, for so long as they are qualified. Why hasn't he chosen the youths? Why hasn't he chosen the disabled or the women? So when you talk about that, they are just trying to, to cut themselves into things which don't even mean well in this country. But what we are trying to say is, it is a ventilation to them because they think it is going to restore their dignity, because they have lost it. They have lost their dignity, and they think they are going to win by doing this. And by the way, they are even saying sensei formula, because an opposition got 0 votes there. Now, what we have to understand again from there is, what is a sensei formula? I'm speaking this from my point of view, how I understand it. Sensei formula, it is a situation more like where they can easily get the people, take them to another constituency, and then vote in that constituency. So these issues are supposed to be understood in all angles. They are debating Bill 10 today in Parliament. They are talking about this issue. But the question we are going to ask ourselves is, how is that Bill 10 going to benefit from a person who is living in Namshakende, a person who is living in Shangombo? So that bill is supposed to be wrapped off. The people of Zambia don't need it. Just like they were supposed to consult stakeholders, like with the political parties, we have said no. Churches have said no. That is the point that we have to be understanding. Then, under what circumstance to which this kind of a bill is being presented to? Is it the people of Zambia or the PF members or the PF leadership? So these issues are supposed to be looked at in a holistic point of view. Provided the
Do you believe that without Bill 10, the PF is dead?
it is already dead, whether with or without Bill 10. They are, look, they have won.
Andrew,
No, sir. Let's be dealing with the statistics and the facts a bit. They won in Mwansabombo. Yes, I will agree with that fact. And I'm going to say thank you to them because they have won.
So what is
what is
the interpretation
of a dead thing? Let me the interpretation, something which has no life, it can't breathe. The point I'm going to raise is this: the PF are not breathing as of now. They are operating oxygen. They are operating oxygen. So those are the things now. When you look at Mwansabombwe and Lukasha, on voting day, we have seen pictures which are floating on social media, where they are taking things like meal there, buying voters. Of course, even the Bible tells us, as it was in heaven, so shall it be on earth. I'm not going to agree with any political party which is going to be complaining. No, they have won, they have done that. If they are buying voters and if they are the formula,
why? I always have this question for opposition leaders.
Let me explain.
How do you quantify the buying of votes or voters when you never took part?
In terms of buying,
why didn't you just buy people meaning, oh, we are not taking part, but you're going to vote?
Now listen. How many people, helping somebody doesn't mean that you have to publicize them. I can help somebody in secret.
So you're also buying them?
Wait. Let me explain. When I help somebody in secret, it doesn't mean I have to bring that person in public. I'll also explain to you that just 2 days ago, I was in Kanyama constituency where I was doing mobilization. I was doing mobilization there. We had the meeting and everything. We had to buy refreshments, but that is not buying. You are helping people. How many people also who are living in this country, which our president has managed to help, which other leaders have managed to help, who are not even shown in public? Other leaders in political parties, as I'm speaking today, some of them are even helping others with scholarships in schools. Others are even helping them with jobs, as I'm talking today. How many people has Democratic Party employed? How many people has UPND employed? So if you are going to align helping people...
But will you have a problem if it's my money? If it's my money, then I buy a chicken.
Now,
I'm taking it to an orphanage.
Just a minute.
Will you have a problem?
No, let me get to bring in Munzi in the conversation.
I take my money, Nagura Ngugu.
No, just a minute. When the governor...
Gentlemen, let me get to bring in Munzi in the conversation. I think she's been quiet for a while now. Mumbu says Bill 10 is a ventilator for the PF and the opposition will not help the PF to breathe. Do you think the lifeline of the Patriotic Front is tied to the bill?
I think, well, maybe it could be tied to the bill. But right now, Andrew, I think this is something that we have been saying. PF is the one political party that has been doing a lot of politicking. They have, even when they get up to speak, they have been speaking the loudest. And I think especially when you start to discuss such topics, it's the difference in interpretation of the law. It's a difference in the way you want to interpret certain things. And the person that has, depending on, especially things to do, I will go back to eligibility of the presidents and things like that. It's there in our constitution, but whoever interprets it the way I want to interpret it and the way you want to interpret it, because it's the same. It's the same constitution that people are reading, and I think it's the same with even things like the Bill 10. It's how you want to decide to interpret it and how loud you will speak. So if the Bill 10, if Bill 10 is a ventilator for PF, it may be, but people are hearing them.
Yeah.
People are hearing them, and that is
Well, they're sending their messages.
Exactly. People are
They're mobilizing at your expense.
the loudest.
Yeah.
And they are not setting any other candidate apart from President Lungu.
We are going to
so
go back
you need
to
to
say
it could be a reality in 2021. But how ready are you as a opposition? That's a question. And you remember my questions one day when you're on the ballot.
Let me get your last remarks, Mr. Simukoko, before we allow you to leave and get to bring in another guest. Your concluded remarks.
Okay, I think let me just respond to Mr. Mabuto, where I said certain things to say it's my money, I can do whatever I want with them. But when you look at the PF, they are the people who are handling the resources of this nation. So any resource that is spent somewhere, you have to question it, where it is coming from, and what it is doing in that kind of a sector. So if we see MUVI being taken there, and we have got the issue of unemployment here, we are going to attribute that the money which was supposed to be spent on building that industry which can absorb the unemployed youths in this country is the money which they are using that side. So whether we are saying it's their money, it's not them. I'm also going to bring this to the attention of the people of Zambia. The 1,600 which was being given to the youths, you are going to understand that just the moment when the governor at the central bank was fired, that is when that money was being distributed. Any normal person is going to result with these things which I'm saying. A point where that someone has just been fired from the central bank, and yet a week after or 2 weeks after you start distributing that money, that intuitively tells us to say the people or the person who was that side was refusing to print some money to distribute. As a result, the person was fired. So when I question where the resources is being spent, that is what we call transparency. Where how things are being used from this sector, that sector, and each another sector, which is money is being spent on. So those are the issues that you have to be understanding. And then we also I have also to take to the attention of the people of Zambia that when you talk about the PF how it is now, they are not interested in the people of Zambia anymore. They're only interested in the foreigners, the Chinese, and other people within the party. If the people in government cared for the people of Zambia, we wouldn't have the people suffering in the way they're suffering. As I'm talking today, Mr. Mavuto, you maybe have got a share on where you can get paid and the likes, but there are people. You have to realize that there are people who are in streets, who are just surviving from the sale of face masks. 5 kwacha. And then they are expected to pay rentals at the end of the month. They are expected to sponsor or to support their families. As a result, they are having little resources. So when we are not serious on how we are dealing with the issues of the nation, how we have to know how such kind of an amount has to be allocated, we have to be questioning ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I'm going to wrap up there. And the people of Zambia have an alternative. The leadership that they think is lacking, we still have leadership. But the problem that we have leadership in government which does not care about them. And Democratic Party in power will bring about industries. We will safeguard things like tourism sector, things like education sector, and all other things which are supposed to be maintained in order. I think that's where I can wrap it up.
Thank you so much for having made time to come for the lunchtime show. We wish you well, and we wish your party, that is the Democratic Party, all the best ahead of the 2021 general elections. I'm meant to believe that you're contesting as well, or maybe you're waiting to be adopted as vice president of the party.
No, I'm contesting as a councillor in Kanyama State now.
Well,
okay. Yes,
congratulations.
Yes.
All right,
Thank
so
you very much.
we get to bring in Bessie Mulenga. There's a SOPI that is starting, that is, has it already started or it's yet to start?
Starting.
Yeah, so we take a short break, then thereafter we get joined in by Bessie Mulenga.